Hello again and welcome back to our course on PowerPoint 2013. In this section we're going to look at alternative ways of saving a presentation. Now so far whenever we've saved a presentation we've saved it in the current PPTX format, but there may be situations in which you want to save your presentation in other formats to satisfy particular requirements. So first of all, if I go into Backstage View by clicking on File and then clicking on Save As and choose, say, the exercise files folder that I've been using, I am presented with a file name box that defaults to the current file name, and then below that there is a Save As type which I've got set up as defaulting to PowerPoint Presentation PPTX. Now if I click on the drop down at the right hand end of that Save As type control, I'm given a very long list of options. Now you probably can't even see the end of this list of options, but you only really need to look at the first few. We did briefly look at this list very much earlier on in the course. Now amongst the options that you've got available here, if you look at the third one, we have PowerPoint 97 to 2003 presentation. And let's suppose that you have a colleague to whom you want to give a copy of a presentation, but they only have an older version of PowerPoint, so that's 97, 2000, 2003. Then by saving your presentation in that format, the person will be able to open your presentation. Now there is a piece of free software available from Microsoft whereby somebody who only has an older version of a presentation can open the newer format in an older copy of PowerPoint. I'm not going to cover that here, but that's an alternative way of enabling people with older copies of PowerPoint to open presentations in the new format. The problem, whichever of these two approaches you choose, is that if you've put any new features of PowerPoint into your presentation, then those features won't show up in the old version of PowerPoint anyway. So that's an example of one of the other formats that you may want to use. There are many others here, so what I'm going to do is just talk about the main two or three that might be of use to you. And to help me to do that, I'm going to cancel this Save As, and instead I'm going to go to the Export option in Backstage View, and one of the options in Export is Create PDF or XPS document. Now this is one of the most likely things you'll want to be able to do, and it has a couple of really good advantages. One of them is that if you save a PowerPoint presentation in PDF format, that's Adobe Portable Document format, then the layout, the formatting, etc. are all preserved, but somebody can open that PDF document who doesn't have PowerPoint. All they need is a piece of software that's available to open PDF documents. Now the vast majority of PC users handle PDF documents because they come in all sorts of situations. So if you just want people to be able to see your presentation, but perhaps there's nothing particularly interactive in it, or you're not worried about people being able to change it or step through it in any particular way, you just want people to be able to see the content of your presentation, then saving it in PDF format is a good option. In fact, one of the great advantages of PDF format is that generally speaking, unless somebody has a sophisticated piece of software, they can't actually change the content anyway, because most people will have reader software whereby they can't make changes to a PDF document. And if somebody doesn't have a viewer or a reader for a PDF document, then there are several free viewers readily available on the web. Now note that this option also includes the option of generating an XPS document, which is the Microsoft equivalent of the PDF format. So that's another option you may find useful as well. But let's suppose I'm going to save the current presentation in PDF format. I click on that button, Create PDF/XPS. And it takes me into that Save As dialog. It gives me the same file name, but this time with an extension of PDF, and I can save it somewhere on my device. There are some options. Let's just click on this Options button here, and we'll see that the options we have for saving as PDF include saving all slides, or just the current slide, or a selection of slides. And then we can publish the slides, this is in a drop down, or handouts or notes pages or outline view. Remember we looked at outline view earlier on. And then we have various options for deciding what we want to include in the PDF document. Things like whether we want the document properties included. So I've checked a couple of options there. I'm going to click on OK. Having done that, I'm happy with the file name, so I'm going to click on Publish. And that will now save that document as a PDF, and I can open the PDF and take a look at it. And what you can see now is my presentation in Adobe Reader. So there's page 1. I can step through the pages in the usual way, say using the scroll bar on the right, or by using the toolbar options here to step through the pages. Arrows, page 3, page 4, so on, go backwards. And really, for many people that make presentations and want to distribute them, say via a website or via their blog, this is very often how they do it. They save the presentation in PDF format and then publish the presentation on the blog, possibly as a download. And this gives you the maximum safety in terms of people being able to change your presentation, but gives a very good scope for people to be able to read it, because the vast majority of people can open PDF documents, and most people understand how to read a document in Adobe Reader. Now let me go back into Backstage View again, and again I'm going to export. We've looked at create PDF XPS document. Right down at the bottom we have another option, change file type. And if I click on change file type, most of this corresponds to a few of the particular file type, save as file type options that we looked at towards the beginning of this section. So we've got the PowerPoint presentation format, that's the current one that's been enforced since PowerPoint 2007. And then we've got the older one that I talked about earlier in the section. And we've also got a couple of other formats. Now, a couple of these I'm not really going to talk about very much. The Open Document presentation, if you're familiar with or a user of OpenOffice, you'll know that there is a presentation format, an ODP format, and you can save a PowerPoint presentation in ODP format. You can also save a presentation as a template for other new presentations. The next option, PowerPoint Show, is another interesting one because it basically saves the PowerPoint presentation in the same format as the normal format for saving it. But if somebody opens it who has a full current version of PowerPoint, it opens in slideshow format. So by default somebody will be running the slideshow rather than going into what we'll call edit mode, normal mode or reader mode. They'll actually be running the slideshow. Now somebody who's got a full copy of PowerPoint can switch to normal mode and could in fact make changes to the presentation, but by default when they open it, it goes into slideshow mode. So if you want to send this to somebody just so they can run through it and have a look at it, but keep open the option of that person being able to edit it as well, then that's a pretty good option to use as well. So in this section we've covered the main options for saving a PowerPoint presentation. One other thing to point out here, in the PowerPoint options on the Save page, right near the top, Save Presentation, you actually specify here what your default format for saving presentations is. By default it's set to PowerPoint presentation. Mine is set to PowerPoint presentation. You can choose from these alternatives such as PowerPoint macro enabled presentation if you start to do some programming, or to default to saving in the old format, and then other formats available include the open document format as well. So that leaves us with another exercise to do. You should have your equivalent of my example 8. That's the presentation with 5 slides in it, including the most recent slide which has the organization chart, the hierarchical chart in it, in my case showing the main functions of the House of Commons, but you may well have produced a PowerPoint presentation with your equivalent to that. This exercise is very straightforward. I'd really like you to save that as a PDF document. Mine is saved as example08.pdf in the files that you got as part of the course. I'll see you in the next section.